All right, let's talk about one single year, 1904. Now, if you looked at it from the surface, you'd see the absolute peak of the Belle Époque, the beautiful era. It seemed like a time of peace, of prosperity all across Europe. But, and this is a big but, just under that shiny veneer, something else was brewing. The forces that were going to shape the entire violent 20th century, yeah, they were already starting to move. And you can totally see that optimism in the art of the time. This right here is Art Nouveau, and it was everywhere. In the architecture, the furniture, the paintings, it was all about these organic, flowing forms and the spirit of radical newness. It's a style that just screams confidence, a belief that technology and culture and society were all marching forward into this brilliant new dawn.
But that's the real question, isn't it? If everything was so great, so full of progress and peace, what was really hiding behind that glittering facade? Because as we're about to see, 1904 was a year of some really profound and, well, dangerous contradictions.
Okay, so to really get the story of this pivotal year, we're going to break it down into 4 key areas. We'll look at the wars that were kicking off, the shifting chessboard of global empires, the incredible turmoil happening inside France, and, of course, the amazing inventions that were changing daily life. So first up, let's just go ahead and shatter that myth of total peace. Because far from being some quiet, tranquil time, 1904 was actually marked by the very loud sound of marching boots and the start of some brutal new conflicts. Right away, on February 8th, the Russo-Japanese War explodes onto the scene. And this was a huge shock, a clash between 2 modern industrial empires fighting for control over parts of Asia. We're talking a brutal, massive war that totally signaled a shift in global power. At the same time, over in German Southwest Africa, a colonial war kicks off that would spiral into the Herero and Nama genocide. We now recognize this as the first genocide of the 20th century. So you can see this so-called beautiful era, well, it was anything but beautiful for the people caught in the middle of all this.
And while these new wars were being fought, the old empires back in Europe were busy redrawing the lines on the diplomatic map. They were setting the stage for an even bigger conflict just a little ways down the road. So, on April 8th, 1904, something pretty remarkable happened. Britain and France signed what's known as the Entente Cordiale, which basically means friendly understanding. Now, this wasn't a formal military alliance, not yet anyway, but it was a huge deal, an agreement to finally settle their many, many colonial disputes all over the world, from Egypt to Newfoundland. And you really have to appreciate what a massive change this was. I mean, for centuries, Britain and France were rivals. More often than not, they were flat-out enemies. But with this one agreement, they just buried the hatchet. So why now? Well, the simple answer is Germany. Both of them were getting really nervous about this newly unified, super ambitious German empire. The Entente Cordiale basically created a new power bloc, and it laid the tracks, you could say, directly for the alliances that would define World War I. But let's zoom in on France for a second, one half of this new friendly understanding. Because while it was making nice with its old rival abroad, the French Republic was practically at war with itself. It was being torn apart by these incredibly deep social and political divisions. Man, 1904 was just a chaotic year for France. The whole country was rocked by something called the Affaire des Fiches, the affair of the cards. It was a scandal where the government was caught using a network of spies to create these secret files on army officers to find out if they were devout Catholics. And if they were, well, their promotions were blocked. At the exact same time, the government passed a law that banned religious orders from teaching, which shut down thousands of schools. It was this fierce push for secularism. And to top it all off, the famous socialist leader Jean Jaurès founded the newspaper L'Humanité, giving a powerful new voice to the radical left. The whole country was just a powder keg. Okay, but amidst all that conflict, all that turmoil, the other side of 1904 was still humming right along. This was, after all, the age of invention, where these quiet, practical innovations were steadily changing what it was like to just live your day-to-day life. So 1904 gave us some pretty cool new tech. We got the multi-cell battery, which was a big step towards reliable, portable power, and we got the first motorcycle with a modern telescopic fork, which paved the way for much faster, smoother rides. But there was another, more personal invention on this list that also made its debut. And this is a perfect symbol of the era's modernizing spirit. Louis-François Cartier created one of the first mass-produced wristwatches specifically for men. Now think about it. Before this, time was something you kept tucked away in your pocket. The wristwatch put time on constant display. It made it personal, accessible, and a symbol of a world that was moving faster and faster every single day.
So here's the crucial takeaway. 1904 wasn't just one thing. It was a year of intense, stark contrasts. For every beautiful piece of Art Nouveau, a brutal new war was breaking out. For every clever new invention, a genocide was getting underway. For every big diplomatic breakthrough, a political system was tearing itself apart from the inside. It's like the future was being written in two languages at the exact same time, the language of progress and the language of conflict. Which really just leaves us with one final question to think about. When you look back at all the elegance and all the brutality packed into this single year, you just have to ask yourself, was 1904 the magnificent, final flourish of an old world that was about to disappear forever? Or was it the violent, complicated, and contradictory beginning of our own?